I never wanted to go on that trip. That's the part one keep replaying over and over. If I'd just said no, if I'd stayed home, maybe they'd still be alive. There were 5 of us, me, Jess, Tyler, Mia, and Brandon. We'd been friends since high school, and every summer we tried to go somewhere off the grid. Jess was the one who found it this time, a hiking trail deep in northern Maine that supposedly ended at an abandoned ranger station. It sounded cool, remote, quiet, perfect for photos and a few nights away from everything. But when we arrived, the trail felt different. Wrong, somehow. The woods were thicker than I expected, the air too still, the ground soft underfoot like it had rained even though the sky was clear. We parked the car near an old gate that looked like it hadn't been used in decades. The path beyond was narrow and shadowed, the kind of place where sunlight got lost between the trees. "Come on," Tyler said, slinging his backpack over his shoulder. "It's just a few miles." I remember thinking his voice sounded too loud for that place. Like the forest swallowed sound, and the only thing that echoed back was silence. We walked for hours. The deeper we went, the more wrong it felt. Every now and then, I'd get that sensation, like something was watching from behind a tree. You know when your skin just knows? When the hairs on your arms stand up without you even understanding why. By sunset, we hadn't found the ranger station. Jess insisted it was just ahead, pointing to her map like that piece of paper could make the woods make sense. That's when we saw it, a narrow clearing with an old cabin sitting right in the middle. It wasn't marked on any of our maps. The place looked ancient, boards warped, roof half-caved, a window covered with rotting planks. A metal chimney stuck out at an angle, and the door hung crookedly open, as if waiting for us. Brandon grinned. "Guess we found our spot." I didn't want to go inside. Something about that cabin made my stomach twist. It felt expectant, like it knew we were coming. But nobody listened. They were laughing, taking selfies, exploring. The inside was worse. The smell hit first, a thick, wet, metallic rot. Like something had died there long ago. The floorboards were damp, and in one corner stood a rusted wood stove, cold and silent. Mia brushed her flashlight across the walls. "Look," she said softly. "There's writing." Carved into the wood, in jagged letters, were words that didn't make sense at first. "Only one leaves." Tyler chuckled nervously. Creepy. Probably someone's idea of a joke. But there was no dust on the carvings. The wood around the letters was freshly splintered. We decided to set up camp a few yards away, telling ourselves we just used the cabin for storage. But as the night went on, the forest changed. The wind stopped completely, and the air grew thick, like breathing through wet cloth. Every sound seemed amplified, the crunch of twigs, the faint crackle of our fire, the occasional rustle of movement too far away to see. Around midnight, Brandon said he heard something outside. A faint tapping, like someone walking barefoot in circles around the tent. We froze, listening. Tap, tap, tap. Then silence. Tyler unzipped the tent and shined his flashlight. Nothing. Just the cabin, half lit by the dying fire. "Probably an animal," he muttered, zipping it shut again. But the tapping came back, this time closer. Right beside my ear. I held my breath. The fabric of the tent pressed inward, like a hand dragging slowly across it from outside. Jess whimpered. Mia grabbed my arm. Tyler lunged forward, yanking the zipper open and shouting, "Who's there?" The night was empty. But the door of the cabin, the one that had been hanging open, was now closed. We didn't sleep. When dawn came, Brandon was gone. His sleeping bag was empty, his backpack still there. His boots were missing. We searched the woods, shouting his name until our throats burned. No answer. Jess started crying, insisting we go back to the car. But Tyler said we were too far in, the GPS wasn't working, and we'd have to follow our own tracks out. When we packed up, I noticed something near the edge of the clearing, a set of footprints, barefoot, leading from Brandon's side of the tent to the cabin door. I wanted to leave then, no argument, no delay. But Tyler insisted we check the cabin before going, just in case he's hurt or something, he said. The moment we stepped inside, my stomach dropped. There was something new on the wall. Freshly carved, the wood still flaking. 4 left. Jess screamed when she saw the carving. Mia backed away, clutching her backpack like it could protect her. Tyler stared at it for a long time, his jaw tightening, trying to rationalize what couldn't be rationalized. Someone's messing with us, he said finally. Brandon's probably pulling a prank. But his voice trembled. I wanted to believe it too, that it was a sick joke, that any second Brandon would burst out laughing, telling us how stupid we looked. But deep down, I knew he wouldn't. Brandon was gone. Not ran off, gone. Not lost, gone. Just, gone. We left the cabin behind and started walking back the way we came. The trail seemed different, twisted somehow, like the forest had shifted in the night. Jess swore we'd passed the same tree 3 times. I marked it with a rock, and 30 minutes later, there it was again, my own mark staring back at me. Okay, Tyler muttered, trying to sound calm, we're just turned around. But the panic was growing. At noon, we stopped to rest. The woods were silent, no birds, no wind, just that thick, suffocating stillness. Mia sat on a fallen log, staring into the trees. Do you hear that? She whispered. We called out, running toward the sound. It moved ahead of us, always just out of reach, luring us deeper into the woods. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. We were standing in another clearing. Smaller than before, darker. The cabin was there again. I swear it wasn't possible. We had walked in one direction for hours. We'd climbed hills, crossed a stream, there was no way it could be the same place. But there it stood, slumped and waiting. Mia started shaking. We didn't come back. It came to us. I didn't know what to say. Tyler turned toward me, his face pale and slick with sweat. We just keep moving, he said. Don't stop. Don't look back. But Jess wasn't listening. She was staring at the cabin door. It had opened again. Inside, something moved. Just a shadow, slow and deliberate, shifting deeper inside the darkness. Jess whispered, Brandon. Before any of us could stop her, she ran in. We shouted her name, followed her through the doorway, and the air changed. It felt heavier, colder. The light from outside barely touched the room. Jess was gone. The room was empty except for something new on the floor, her phone, cracked screen still glowing. The last photo she'd taken was open, a blurry shot of us outside the tent, all 5 of us. Except in the corner, half hidden by the cabin's window, was a 6th shape. Tall. Thin. Watching. Mia started crying. Tyler picked up the phone and threw it across the room, his breathing ragged. We're leaving. Now. We ran. No more maps, no more plans, just raw instinct, pushing through brush and branches until our legs gave out. But no matter how far we went, the trees never changed. It was like we were running in circles inside something too big to understand. At dusk, we found a small ridge and decided to camp there. Tyler built a fire, though it barely gave off any light. The flames seemed weak, like the air itself resisted burning. None of us spoke for a long time. Finally, Mia whispered, Do you think Jess is? I couldn't answer. Tyler stared into the flames. It's this place, he said. It doesn't want us here. He was right. That night, I woke to a sound, a slow, dragging scrape. I thought it was a branch at first, until I realized it was coming from inside the camp. I sat up, my heart hammering. The fire had burned down to embers, casting faint light on Tyler's sleeping bag. Empty. Mia, I whispered, shaking her. He's gone. We looked around, and then I saw it, Tyler's flashlight, lying a few feet away, pointing toward the trees. The beam caught something pale, his hand. Just his hand, sticking out from behind a log, the rest of him hidden in the shadows. We ran to him. He was sitting upright, eyes open, staring at something we couldn't see. His lips moved silently. Tyler, I said, grabbing his shoulder. He turned his head slowly toward me, and my breath caught. His eyes were black. Not bruised, not shadowed, completely black, like holes burned through him. Then he smiled. 3 left, he whispered. We screamed and ran. I didn't look back. We kept running until the forest thinned and the faint outline of the cabin appeared again through the mist, waiting, patient, eternal. Mia collapsed to her knees, sobbing. We can't get away. It won't let us go. I believed her. Because when I looked down, the ground beneath us wasn't dirt anymore. It was wood. Old, rotted, splintered, the same floorboards as inside the cabin. And carved into them, fresh and deep, were 2 words that hadn't been there before. 2 left. Mia started screaming when she saw the words carved into the floorboards. Her voice bounced through the trees like it didn't belong to her anymore. I pulled her up, shaking, dragging her away from the clearing that kept pretending to be something else. We just keep walking, I told her. We don't stop, we don't look back. The forest disagreed. Every direction we turned felt the same, gray trunks, wet moss, air so still it pressed against the skin. It wasn't just that we were lost. It was like the woods themselves were folding around us, sealing us in. We walked until the light dimmed into that endless twilight where it's never fully day or night. My phone had long since died. Mia's battery held at 3%, no signal, just a frozen home screen showing a time that never changed, 3:17 a.m. We stopped beside a fallen tree, too exhausted to think. Mia whispered, "What if we're already dead?" I almost laughed, but it came out hollow. Then this would be hell, I said. Something moved beyond the trees, a rustle, soft at first, then deliberate. I lifted my flashlight. The beam wavered, catching glimpses of pale bark and shadow. Then a figure stepped into view. It was Jess. Or at least, it looked like her. She stood 10 feet away, clothes torn, face gray like paper left out in the rain. Her eyes reflected the light but didn't blink. "Mia," she said in a voice that wasn't a voice, flat, layered, like 2 recordings playing at once. "Come back." Mia staggered toward her, sobbing. I grabbed her arm, but Jess, or whatever it was, tilted its head and whispered something I couldn't hear. Mia froze, lips trembling. Then she turned to me and smiled. "I can see them now," she said softly. "They're everywhere." Before I could react, she ran straight toward the figure. The light flickered, and they both vanished, swallowed by the dark. I shouted her name until my throat tore. Only the echo answered. When I turned back toward the fallen tree, the carving had changed again. Deep, splintered letters ran along the trunk, glistening with sap that looked too much like blood. 1 left. I fell to my knees, shaking. The forest hummed around me, low and steady, like a heartbeat that wasn't mine. Every direction looked the same, but I could feel it guiding me. Somewhere beyond the trees, something was calling, a faint hum, almost a lullaby. I walked. Maybe I was following the sound, maybe it was pulling me. After a while, the trees opened, and the cabin stood there again. Only this time, it looked new. The wood gleamed with fresh varnish, the porch swept clean, a candle burning behind the window. The door creaked open on its own. Warm light spilled out, and I stepped inside. The smell of smoke and pine filled the air. Furniture lined the walls, a table set for 5, plates clean, silverware gleaming. Someone had prepared it for us. For me. I took a seat without meaning to. My body moved like it belonged to someone else. A faint whisper crawled along the ceiling beams, circling closer. Eat, it breathed. I looked down. The plate in front of me wasn't empty anymore. 5 lumps of something gray and slick sat in a neat circle. I didn't recognize them until I saw the ring, Mia's silver ring, lodged in one of them. I pushed back from the table, gagging. The candlelight dimmed. From the shadows, faces appeared, Jess, Brandon, Tyler, Mia, each standing behind the chairs where they'd sat before. Their eyes were black, skin drawn tight over bone. Stay, they whispered together. It's your turn. The whispering built into a hiss, a pressure against my skull. The walls pulsed like lungs breathing. I ran for the door, but the wood had sealed shut, smooth and solid. My fists left no mark. I turned and saw something moving behind the table, a shape rising taller than the room should allow, its limbs long and jointed wrong, its head brushing the rafters. Where a face should have been, there was only darkness that moved like liquid smoke. It leaned toward me, and I heard a dozen voices, mine among them, speaking in unison. Now none leave. The candle went out. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was lying on the forest floor. Morning light filtered through the branches, soft and unreal. The cabin was gone. So were their packs, their clothes, their footprints. Only mine remained. I stumbled back toward the dirt road until I found the car. The tires were half buried in moss, the metal rusted through like it had sat there for years. My reflection in the window looked wrong, older, thinner, eyes darker. A ranger found me 2 days later wandering along the highway. He said the last search party to go into those woods was in 1993, looking for a group of 5 hikers who vanished near an old ranger cabin. Their names? Brandon, Jess, Tyler, Mia, and someone named Daniel. That's my name. He showed me their photos. They looked exactly like us. Only older. He asked how I survived. I told him I didn't know. But sometimes, when the night's quiet enough, I swear I still hear them whispering from the tree line, counting, slowly, patiently.